6限の前に。まさかの手。木曜日。同じくやっていけない。
Okay, should we get started? Yeah, that would be good. Can I give somebody the PowerPoint to put onto this one? Presenting week 3 is the name of the file. There are presenting week 3.
カチャカチャやるパワーポイント。それが担当の仕事やから。そうだからボルタント先生がなんか next please 言ったらポチッとっていう。
Presenting week 3.
お願いします。ここで発表していいですか？学生さんが。
もちろん。
あ、すみません。あ、いいね。
Can you go to slide 17?
お疲れさん。試験間に合ったね。
途中退場できて、なんとか。
兵庫から。
はい、兵庫から。
まだ授業始まってないから大丈夫。
Okay? Okay? No? Can't get that. Aha.
あ、wait。
張さん、すみません。なんか向こうのやつがなぜか光らない。
あれ、ログインして。
皆さん暑いとか寒いとかありますか？大丈夫ですか？
Okay? Okay, we're up. Okay, so this is week 3. Okay? And of course, like always, I will first go over what we did in the last couple of weeks. Just review that. And then I'll go and do our new topics for this week. But I want to make sure that we have lots of time for you to present, to practice presenting. This is the best week for us to do practice presentations because in the final week I'm never sure how much time I will have because You know, I'm never sure how much I can get through, how much more content I need to finish. So I'll try and do as many presentations as we can today. I hope to do 3, 4, at the most 5. 3 or 4 today. And then hopefully next week we can do the final presentations for those who haven't had a chance. If we go really fast, we may even have time for people who presented last week to try presenting again. So we'll see how we go. Okay, let's click on to the next slide. Okay, so just reviewing the last couple of weeks. Okay. In the first week, we went over the basics of making a PowerPoint presentation. Okay. So remember that you have to have an introduction, a main body, and a conclusion. You have to have time for questions. Okay. That's the real basics. You have to consider how long you will spend on each part of your presentation. Okay. And my suggestions are up on the screen there. I suggest that the introduction be thought of in 2 parts, a self-introduction and an academic introduction. The self-introduction introduces you, the academic introduction introduces what you will talk about. And as a basic guideline, you might have 10 to 20 seconds to introduce yourself and 30 to 40 seconds to introduce your topic. It's not long, very short. After that, you move into the main body of your talk, where you present any data you have, any supporting evidence, historical evidence. I suggest that in the main body you have only 3 main points. This is simply to do with the amount of time you have. Okay? If you have too many points, you won't have time to get through it. On the other hand, if you have too few points, you will have nothing to talk about. So about 2, 3, no more than 4. Finally, I would leave myself at least 1 minute for the conclusion. Okay? Conclusion is very important. The conclusion is your chance to really show how smart you are. In the main body, you are, for the main part, just presenting research. Anybody can do research. Anybody can find research. But to make something new out of that research, to show people that you understood the research, that's what you can do with your conclusion. Okay. Finally, we have quite a lot of time for questions, and to be honest, the question section is often the most difficult for new presenters because you're not in control. Next week we will talk about questions, and one of the things I will show you is how to shape the question time. Some tricks for predicting what questions you will have and how to control what questions you have. So I have many suggestions, all the way from cheating, Sakura, have someone else in there to ask you questions, all the way through to leaving things out of your presentation. Okay, and we'll talk about that next week. Last week we talked about analogy and metaphor. Analogy and metaphor means saying one thing is like another. Today I have water, and water is pretty much just like water. So it's not so useful for analogy and metaphor. But you might remember that last week I had a different drink. And you probably don't really remember what the name of my drink was, but I'm sure that you remember that I said it's like ornament C. Okay? Because metaphor is one of the main ways that the human brain learns, through stories. Okay? We know that that's how people used to pass on information. There were no books. So people would tell stories to each other, and they would learn from the stories. And when you use metaphor to explain that one thing is like another, you are telling a story in a way. And that works well for humans. So in order to explain complicated concepts quickly, in order to make definitions, to explain what something is quickly, and in order to have people remember what you have said, I recommend using metaphor. My example of metaphor last week was about the cell. If we go to the next one. So the first use of cell in what I guess you'd call biology is for honeycomb. Okay, so originally a cell meant a monk's cell, a monk's bedroom, and they were small, austere, meaning not much in it, kind of Zen-style rooms that were shaped not usually so squarely. So they had kind of from above a slightly round, maybe hexagonal shape. So when somebody looked at honeycomb, where bees keep their honey, they thought that that looked like a monk's cell, and they called it honeycomb cells. And then looking at cork cells in a cork plant, you can immediately see how that looks like the honeycomb. And so that metaphor was extended to the biological cell in a general sense. The metaphor is now so much a part of our language that we don't think of it as a metaphor. We think that a cell is a cell. And we don't remember that this is simply a metaphor, that it's a name for something that came from something else. But as a teacher, I use metaphor all of the time, and to explain the function of a cell and the parts of a cell, I use the metaphor of a city. So if you remember from last time, I explained how different parts of a city were like parts of the cell, or the other way around, how different parts of a cell were like parts of a city. This is a good metaphor because my students, when they're learning about cells, are usually able to understand what a city is like already. If your metaphor is more difficult than your concept, it won't work. So designing a good metaphor, you have to think about what people already know. Okay? Who is your audience? Can we click on to the next one? We also talked about technical vocabulary. And my main point for technical vocabulary was simply to be careful about how much of it that you use. To remember that unlike a paper or a written medium, a presentation takes control away from the audience. Okay? The audience can't go over things again and again and again. Also, the audience is generally more varied. Okay? When you look at who comes to a conference, often people from several different fields are at the same conference, listening to the same presentations. And finally, you have to remember that with a presentation, you have a very short amount of time. Whereas with a written paper, the reader can look at the paper again and again and again. Okay. So in general, my advice is keep technical vocabulary to a minimum. Use as little as possible. Okay, next one. This one doesn't apply because I didn't use this one, so I've just skipped to the next one. Sorry, I didn't have time to show you my presentations. Today we're going to talk about chunking. And chunking is a simple process. It's the idea that things can be thought of as being part of general concepts or details. And as I say this, there is about to be a problem. I think I may need to give you another file because it might not come up on this one, a Word file to show them. Can we go to the next one and we'll see if it comes up? No, it doesn't come up. Okay, can I have the flash drive for a moment? Are we working off the computer? I'm going to use another file to show you the details of chunking. This will come up. Okay, here we go. Okay, I'll just quickly find you the file. Play with this in English, not Japanese. Both on. Okay, can you open up the Word document Chunking English? Okay, so this is an example of how chunking works. So chunking is the idea that you can move up and down in detail. You can look at the big picture, or you can look at the small details. This is very useful because actually the human brain can do up and down, but it can't do side to side. Okay? So often you'll hear people say, think outside the box, lateral thinking. These are all ways of telling people to think of new ideas, of different ideas. But that's actually very difficult for the human brain. It's not how it works. So chunking is a very useful way to think of new ideas. For example, if you have a problem, say with transport, because that's what our diagram is about, then you can use chunking to find solutions. Imagine you have a family with a husband, wife and teenage child. In New Zealand, teenagers can often drive a car. And one night, the husband says that he wants to go to his friend's house to meet his friends. And the wife says that she has to go back to work to finish some work. And the teenage child says, well, I want to go to a movie with my friends. And they all want to use the car. It seems that this is a problem with no solution. 3 people want to use the car, there is only 1 car. 1 person will win and 2 people will lose. It's logic. But if you consider that chunking can be used to solve this, and you think, well, what is a car? Well, a car is an example of transportation. So we go from car up to transportation. What are some other examples of transportation? Well, buses, boats, planes and trains are all other examples of transportation. Walking is another one. Now these can all be used as solutions to our problem. The husband could use a bus, a train, or walk to his friend's house. So what we're doing here is we're going laterally, we're going side to side. We're saying car, bus, walk, bike, train. These things are lateral thinking, okay? Thinking of new ideas. However, the human brain doesn't do that well. So I'm suggesting that one way to do that is to chunk up and then chunk down again. Okay? So this is one kind of use for chunking, to think of new ideas. You could use this when you are generating metaphors How can you explain something? Okay, you could chunk up and chunk down to the side, and if you find something that is more well known, it makes it a lot easier to explain to people. Okay? You can see from the diagram that we can chunk from a very big picture, existence, 存在. We can say movement, and as an example of things that exist do. An example of that is transportation. Some different types of transportation: buses, boats, cars, planes, trains. If you go down to car, then you can then say that there are different types of cars. There are Toyotas, Hondas. Or you can go to specific parts of a car: wheels, steering wheels, engines. These are all chunks down. If you follow through the diagram, you can see that the details get more and more specific. Okay? Now, this is a simple way to generate new ideas, to generate metaphors, and most definitely you should use it when you design your presentation or your paper. The reason for that is that the main body of your paper or your presentation needs to include a certain amount of detail. But the introduction and conclusion need to have a certain amount of general appeal. That is to say that if I start off my presentation with extreme detail, nobody wants to listen. Okay? I can start off my presentation. Data showed that TRPM3 was activated when we stimulated it with sudden detail. You don't know what I'm talking about. You have no idea. It's biology, it's ion channels, but I never told you that. Okay? It doesn't make any sense to you. You don't know where to put it in your mind. And so you spend the first part of my presentation lost, trying to figure out for yourself what is the big picture. Okay? But if I give you some detail to begin with, it's a lot easier. For example, I could start off by saying, well, today I'm going to talk about something that's very important to the entire world. Today I'm going to talk about the loss of species. Okay? In biology, this is a very big issue. Over the past 50 years, we have seen a dramatic reduction in the number of species that are existing on the planet. To be more specific, I'm going to talk about some of the problems we're having with large mammals and how to preserve large mammals in their natural habitat. I'm going to give you some ideas about how to preserve these mammals from an economic point of view. So although our topic is about biology and biodiversity, we're going to talk about this from an economic point of view. And then after I've given you that big picture, I can show you some specific details for how to save elephants or rhinos based on economic models. That's my detail, the main part of my talk. That's what I did for my research. The introduction, the big picture, shows you why I did it. Finally, once I've talked about the details, I can go on to my conclusion. And now I want to relate my details back to the big picture. I want to go back up. So I want to explain to you, based on the results we got from our research, it seems that the best way to save rhinos is to allow the local people the right to own them and to charge people to see them as tourist attractions. Because currently local people, as you saw by my data, think of elephants and rhinos and other large mammals as pests which destroy their crops and damage their houses. However, if we transfer the ownership rights of these large animals to the local people, they are able to generate an income stream, thus allowing them to preserve the animals. Okay, so we're going big picture, details, back to the big picture. Okay, this is the structure of a good presentation. Okay? It's very simple, and once you think about it in terms of chunking, and once you realize that every presentation, to some extent, should start with some big picture and go into details and go back, then it becomes a very simple thing for you to do. Okay, can we go back to the presentation? Slide 22. Okay, here we have some topics written up for you. And what I'm going to get you to do is to think about what would be the big picture for these topics, or what would be some details for these topics. So I want you to practice chunking up or down. So I'm going to do the first one as an example. CO2 emissions from cows. Okay, in Japan, global warming is mainly associated with cars. But in New Zealand, where I come from, one of the main problems for global warming is cows and sheep, especially cows. To be specific, cow farts. Okay? So, immediately I've told you the big picture. Global warming is the big picture. If I simply was to say to you today I'm going to talk about cow farts, you'd be a bit surprised. Good evening, everybody. Today's presentation will be on cow farts. What? But if I tell you that today's presentation will be on global warming, and then explain to you how in New Zealand one of the significant contributors to global warming is cow farts, CO2 emissions, methane emissions from cows, it makes a big difference. I could get more specific talking about this. I could talk specifically about what kind of gases are generated, about how we measure it, and what we could do to stop it. That would be more specific. Okay? Okay, so I want you to think about the next topics in groups. We will have 2 groups, 1 at each table. And I want you to try thinking, chunking up to the big picture, and chunking down to specific details. Some you'll find easy because you know something about the topic. Some you'll find difficult. Okay, so I will give you some time. See if you can try chunking up and chunking down. Maybe we should move a couple of people from this table to this one. Can I ask you to move from this one up there?
Actually, she's not a student.
Student, I know. Maybe.
Okay.
Okay, so we can move on with this. Okay, I thought they're both my students. Okay, so that's perfect. Okay, so 4 in each group. See if you can chunk up and chunk down.
person in this presentation slide is some characters who appeared in the story. So like, I don't know about the story we're going to do it. So, for example, police, him, or their families. I think it's magic. I think it's too difficult. It's too difficult to like talk about.
Piece of Middle East.
What do you do when you make a presentation? You have to choose topic and you have to make a story presentation. So for example, in the case of world peace, you have to choose like United Nations.
Yeah.
So the role of United Nations is sometimes considered useless because there's a international law, but international law doesn't bind countries. So some people say that the role of the United Nations is not really so you can develop your theories.
いっぱい。お茶碗いっぱい。あ
So it's like I will talk about the world peace, and then especially I will specify.
Oh yeah.
So you have a like first a big picture, and you have to narrow down the topic.
Well, first we said we talk about the world peace, and next, the example we introduce the example how to protect the world peace or
Yes.
something.
It's one option, and another option is today I will talk about the globalist doctor, and then this is related to the issue of world peace. It's another option.
You're going down, not up, down.
Next, making money.
Oh, it's your floor, but
What is up? For example, in Toyota, the up means car. That's just if you go down from the Toyota, it means, for example, expensive or high-tech type of.
They should have more concrete title.
Okay, just another couple of minutes. Sorry, I have to limit your time. So just another 2 minutes. Try and move on.
About 168 yen. You can buy inside of 100 yen.
So you need the whole dish. Okay, and rice is specific one of the dish, and we're talking about the whole dish, including the miso soup and rice and the main dish, right?
I think in this case there's some means to make money. So you will choose like one topic, only one mean to make money. For example, like
This is a
using the
very
bond system,
big,
chemistry,
idea, so you have
to
to
make
go
money
down,
or
right?
something. Or manage a
For example,
company.
white bird. Can you mix it? Bird, white bird. Yeah, yeah. I mean, I go there.
Yes.
Yes, if you're students.
Yes.
So I think you have to specify or clarify the definition, and then you narrow down the topic.
Mhm.
Yes, then last one.
Last one.
Life partner.
Yeah.
I think it's quite detailed, so you have to chunk. It's better to chunk up. For example, it's an example of how to lead a good life. And the one example of leading a good life is finding a life partner.
Is that true?
Or some people choose another one.
Yeah.
What do you think about it?
I think it's wait. It's one of the examples. Yeah, I agree with you.
You can
but
always speak.
yeah, but some people may think it's not.
It's not there what you can
I think these days it's difficult for us to find the right partner. These days, especially in Japan. Yeah, and we talk about why is it difficult to find the right partner in Japan. I think we can chunk down from this topic. Yeah.
How do you chunk down?
So in Japan these days it's difficult for us to find the right partner. So why it's difficult? And we introduce the example or what government do to solve this problem or something.
Is it a chunk down? I think
No.
it goes at same level
Oh really?
because it's a main topic.
How about well?
So in this case, if you want to chunk down, I think you have to state like, for me, it's really difficult. Finding a life partner.
Okay, I'm afraid just because of time I'm going to have to stop you there. We could spend a lot more time on this, but for now I will stop you and quickly recap, give you some examples. Even for some which are very big topics, you can still chunk up or chunk down. For example, world peace. World peace might be quite a big topic, I guess. But you could still go up. You could say that world peace is an example of existence. Without world peace, people can't exist. And that's one way to go up. A way to go down would be to look specifically at peace in the Middle East and war in the Middle East. And these are just examples. Of course, you can go down to other sides. Finding a life partner. Finding a life partner might be an example of human interaction. Okay? Meeting people, interacting with people. Okay? And to go down, to chunk down, you might look at finding a girlfriend or boyfriend at university. These are some projects. Okay, because of time, I want to keep moving on. So if we can skip two, I think. One, two. One more. One more, sorry. One other topic we're going to quickly look at today is body language. You can see lots of different body language from our little moving icons. Next slide. So I'm quickly going to go through some do's and don'ts. So important do's are eye contact with your audience. You need to have some idea of what you are going to say. Because if you look down and read the whole time, you can't have eye contact. So it's good to have notes, but you need to have practiced enough to be able to look up and talk sometimes. You need to emphasize points, and you can use body language to do that. You can use strong body language. Strong body language. Okay? But if you simply spend the whole time with your arms crossed, you won't have a good reaction from your audience. The third point is you should smile. It's always good to smile. Not so good to touch your face all of the time. Some people get very nervous. Okay? Good to smile. Keep your hands away from your face, generally speaking. It's good to move around. Okay? To move around, to use your stage. Okay? But be careful not to stand in front of the overhead so that people can't see your slide. That's no good. Okay? So try and make sure that people can see. Of course, there are lots of other specific things about body language, but this is enough for you to concentrate on for now. Please try and concentrate on these simple points for do's and don'ts. Okay, next slide. I'm going to show you, not last year's actually, 2 years ago, a little piece of the presentations from 2010. I want you to listen and see what it's like to listen to them, to their presentations, and then we'll talk about it. Okay, can we go next one? Can we press play on that? Is it play? Doesn't work on Windows. It is on mine. Okay. Can I have the USB back again?
Yeah.
And I'll give you the original file.
We have it here.
ソ連教育に関心を持つ民生学部4回生で構成された実行委員会です。委員たちが希望する学生に論文執筆やパワーポイント作成などのサポート、論文査読、発表練習なども行いました。第1回目のシンポジウムは研究の世界受講者皆様の先輩もたくさん参加してくれました。
I'll just get the original file so that you can see. Oh, you can find it on here. Okay, I think it's on here now.
We can see the brightness. So we need a
As long as they can hear it, it's okay, actually.
so we can see from their side. Messages. We can see it from this display.
Oh, okay. So please look. Can we skip to the actual presentation?
Yeah.
国際的に通用するプレゼンテーション能力と探求心を伸ばしたい。土台をしっかり構築して、
Okay.
また大学入学の勉強になると、そしてここまで。
However, in some areas, no food production developed. While no food production developed, is no food production possible? We focus cultural, economical, ecological parts of food production. Thank you for your nice presentation. And I'd like to ask you that why did you choose 3 organizations or companies? I think this cultural point is related to consumption, and the economical point related to cost, and ecological point related to biology or cooking. So I researched about these 3 points, and this is a more common word for these topics.
Then I would like to talk about license content. License content in Finland, because it may be used as a service device. We focus on license content, and we examine it. License content is active on clarity and makes hold on cell membrane until gently engine health. Global warming currently threatens many forms of life on Earth, including human beings. So we're trying to reduce CO2. I took an engineering approach to this purpose. I tried to make a computer program for estimating CO2 emissions and reducing them. First, I made a formula for calculating CO2 emissions and reducing them. And second, I made a program in Fortran using this formula. Fortran is one of the main computer programming languages. Is it equal to 1? No.
Which one is more wood, use more wood? So this is not comparable. 10 minutes an hour cannot compare with 150,000 cubic.
I assume that 1 minute of shower equals to the use of 12 liters of water.
The theme of my presentation means human view of waste, how people see or regard waste. My presentation is in 4 parts. First, I will introduce brief background of my study. Then, I'll tell you about the past history of waste culture. After that, I will show you the current situation through the questionnaire. I'll conclude with a suggestion. So let's we want to live better in good condition. That's right. But we can improve my way. I think this thought is my trigger. So I think there's a way to realize both our good drive and good score as well. I choose this.
Okay, maybe that's enough. Can we stop that? Okay, we don't need the presentation for now. Okay, so usually when I teach English, I tell my students that pronunciation is not so important. Okay, I think that in Japan people are too concerned with pronunciation. However, did you notice how hard it is to hear what they are saying? It's really hard. Okay, even though they are doing well, it's still hard. For your presentation, you need to be really careful about speaking clearly. It's not so much an issue of having a little bit of a Japanese pronunciation, but speaking slowly and clearly and cutting your words. If the words blur together and you don't give a clear end to each word, it's very difficult to hear. Okay? How can you fix this? There's a simple way to practice. Record your presentation. You need to record it. Use an iPhone or something like that. Use a video camera. And then you need to listen to it again yourself. Again and again and again. The more times you can do it, the better. Okay? If you record your speech and you listen to it and you can hear for yourself which parts are difficult to understand, and you can work on those. Okay? Generally speaking, pronunciation is not so important. Actually, you can pronounce words badly and people will understand. But for your speech, you need to be very clear. You need to practice with some kind of recording. And you need to speak in a loud voice. Okay? The microphone amplifies your voice, but it makes your voice difficult to understand. The more it has to amplify, the worse your voice gets. Okay, that's all for my side of things for today. So we've moved very quickly through 3 topics. Okay? We've moved very quickly through 3 topics. Do you have any questions about chunking, body language, or pronunciation? I'll give you some time to think about it. If you have questions, you can ask me at the end of the presentation. Okay? For now, I want to make sure that we take time for some people to try out their own presentations. So, who would like to go today? Okay. Okay, well, we'll go from the first person to put their hand up. Can we get your presentation up and running?
Control this side of this computer.
Oh, okay. Hello everyone, my name is Chihiro Nakamura and I'm in the Faculty of Science and a freshman. And the title of my research is Mismatch Repair Protects Against Gamma Rays in Civilians. And many people don't like it because it is like a worm, but I don't think so because I see him every day, and I'm a I become more attached to day by day because I see it every day. So if you do so, you must say, oh, it's cute, I think. So anyway, now let's go to the subject. So first, the content is like this. What is mismatch repair? What was examined in this experiment? Results from 1 to 3, and conclusion. First, what is mismatch repair? Usually, DNA is damaged by such as gamma rays and UV and so on. And the damaged DNA is repaired like this. And this is called mismatch repair. And in mismatch repair, there are factors such as MLH1, MSH2, and EXO1. So in this research, each of these factors was knocked down, and then the C elegans was irradiated with gamma rays. And knockdown means suppressing functions. So under this condition, the damaged DNA was not repaired, and this affects the lifespan. So it means the lifespan would be shortened. So result 1, and in this case, MLH1 was knocked down. And blue line means non-irradiated C elegans whose MLH1 was knocked down. And red line means irradiated C elegans whose MLH1 was knocked down. And in this case, we can consider these two lines as similar because p-value is 0.4452. And p-value is a statistical indicator, and if it's more than 0.05, we can just these two lines are different. If it's more than 0.05, we can consider these two lines similar. And if it's less than 0.05, we can consider these two lines are different from each other. So let's go to the next one. Result 2. In this case, MSH2 was knocked down. And similarly, we can judge these two lines are similar because p-value is 0.2351, and this is more than 0.05. So let's go to the last one. And in this case, EXO was knocked down, and the p-value is 0.0388, and this is more than 0.05. So we can judge these two lines are similar, and that is the irradiated C elegans whose EXO was knocked down had a longer lifespan than non-irradiated one. So conclusion: even if a mismatch repair related factor repairing DNA damaged by gamma rays was knocked down, lifespan didn't be shortened. C elegans might acquire resistance to gamma rays or something like that. I mean, mismatch repair prevents gamma rays in C elegans. So, in other words, C elegans beat gamma rays. Thank you for your listening.
Okay, any questions or comments?
What do you think if the all three agents knocked down cereals are exposed to X-ray?
I think the lifespan didn't be shortened because like this experiment, C. elegans is very, very strong than human beings or other organisms. So maybe C. elegans may have another mechanism instead of mismatch repair. Or so, yeah, I think so.
Thank you.
Thanks for a nice presentation. I have one question. Is there any research related to this topic? Could you explain a bit?
When the wild type C. elegans was irradiated with gamma rays, C. elegans, the lifespan didn't be shortened, or the lifespan became longer than non-irradiated wild type C. elegans. Okay.
How did you use experiment? What did you do?
I visited to the laboratory in the Faculty of Science.
So you use PCR?
Yeah. In the plate. Or more please. In one plate, there were 15 C. elegans, and in total, I used 240 C. elegans. So, in this case, MLH1 was knocked down, and the C. elegans whose MLH1 was knocked down were I used 60 C. elegans whose MLH1 was knocked down, and similarly, I used 60 C. elegans MH2 was knocked down, and this case is also the same.
Thank you.
Okay, I think it's a good time for me to make a comment. I think it's a very good presentation. Overall, it's incredibly good considering where we are in terms of you having more time to prepare. That's very close to what you need to do for your actual presentation. I would suggest that the last question is a very good one, and that you should add to your presentation more details of the procedure. And rather than just concentrating on the results, you need to tell the story of your research. Show them what you did. That would be the main change I would make. Also, for the conclusion, I think you can say more. How could this be useful in the real world? Go back to the big picture. What is this part of? Okay, there's a lot you could say about that. Overall, very good. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Okay, who would like to go next? Whose presentation do we have?
Hello, my name is Yuki Arai. I'm a first year student at Kyoto University Faculty of Pharmaceutical Sciences. Today, I'd like to present about the antibacterial effect of tea. Tea is the second most popular beverage behind water. A lot of kinds of tea are drunk around the world and loved by many people. I think most of you drank tea today, and of course I did, and I'm the one of the tea lover. I will make a presentation in this order. The purpose of this research is to know what kind of tea is the most effective to inhibit the bacterial growth and the effect of blended tea. A hypothesis was made before the experiment. Green tea was the most effective because there are many products which contain green tea elements in Japan. And blended tea was expected to affect the average of all the tea it composed of. In this study, 4 kinds of tea leaves were used: green, oolong, black, and 4. The difference among them is the oxidative fermentation process of tea leaves. Green tea was not oxidized at all. Oolong tea leaves was partly oxidized. Black tea was oxidized perfectly. Puer tea was not oxidized, but fermented by a microbe. We blended the same quantity of all and made blended tea. 8 species of bacteria were prepared from researchers' body surface, such as hands and feet. This experiment was conducted in the following way. First, tea extracts were mixed in the agriculture medium. 14 concentration levels at the volume fraction were prepared. 10% is the concentration of tea we usually drink. Second, the dishes were divided into 4 parts and incubated bacteria were touched on the lines. Third, they were put in incubators at 37 degrees for days. Then the next day, the bacterial growths were examined with the eye. We evaluated whether tea inhibited the growth of bacteria completely or not. For example, in this figure, we can observe colonies and they can be regarded as incompletely inhibited. On the other hand, on this line, we cannot observe colonies, so it can be said that the tea inhibited the growth of bacteria completely. Please look at this picture. Control means there is no tea in the dish. As you can see, the higher concentration of tea becomes, the fewer bacteria grow. So, we observe whether tea inhibited bacterial growth completely or not. Then, the results were put in a graph. The heights of birds represent about each kind of tea and concentration, how many species of bacteria were inhibited their growth perfectly. For example, this one means 1% blended tea could inhibit the growth of 2 species of bacteria. As you can see, blended green oolong tea show the similar result. Black tea has a little weaker effect, and poor tea was hardly effective. Blended, green, and oolong tea worked well, even though their concentration is lower. Green tea worked well as a hypothesis. Black tea and poor tea work only at a higher concentration. Blended tea has much stronger effect than it was predicted. This can be explained in this way, that blended tea consists of all other kinds of tea, and the ingredients which were contained in green and oolong tea worked well. We found that the ability to inhibit the growth of bacteria becomes stronger in this order. Our data indicated that oxidative fermentation of tea leaves is detrimental to the ability to inhibit bacterial growth. In conclusion, from this research, we can learn that green, oolong, and blended tea were the most effective. And oxidative fermentation of tea is detrimental to inhibit the growth of bacteria. Thank you for listening.
Now, does anybody has any questions or comments?
What do you think this conclusion is useful in the future?
Because the bacteria which were used in this research were gathered from our body surface, such as hands and feet. So, and bad smell of feet or bad smell in shoes were from bacterial growth. So we can make our shoes insole with tea elements and put in shoes in order not to smell. Yes.
You think the colony or bacteria has controlled hand? So I think if the colony was controlled under the bacteria, the kind of bacteria is different. I think the result will be changed. It's like about the graph. So green tea and oolong tea inhibit the growth of one kind, and blended tea inhibit two kinds of bacteria. So I think blended tea inhibit the growth of two kinds of bacteria. Green tea and oolong tea inhibit. Each tea has the ability to inhibit other different kinds of bacteria. Do you think the result will change if the colony of bacteria are controlled? Change?
It can be considered, but this result won't be changed so seriously, I think, because 8 kinds of bacteria were chosen from different colors or different appearance. So I think this result won't be changed. There may be some little change, but not so big. Thank you.
Sometimes I heard in Shizuoka Prefecture, where is a famous area of tea, the percentage of people who suffer from cancer is very low. Is this situation related to your study? What do you think about this?
When I was writing a paper, I searched for many researches, and I found some of the research studied about the relationship between cancer and clearness. So,
Okay.
Some relationship. There might be some relationship between children and the cancer. Yes. Maybe we later go on the next person. So who would like to
Next presenter
try
is
to
who? Who want to challenge the next?
Yeah.
Mr. Bano, I think you are ready, aren't you? No, I saw. I think you can do it.
Yeah.
You can read your paper or manuscript and just try. It's very effective for you, so if you like. Okay, is there anyone? Oh, great.
Facts are latter part about not complete.
Yeah, it's okay.
Yes.
We can come to here. And your PowerPoint is in this
Yeah.
computer.
Yeah. You want. Hey, hello. My name is Ban Naika, and my major is civil engineering. And my paper title is Smallness of Japanese B2C EC and a proposal of Zero Yen Shop. I researched Japanese B2C EC, and then I developed a new style of B2C EC model. Okay. Introduce myself. I think I want to have a unique viewpoint. For example, it is IQ test. We get the next figure, and my answer is that. It is also inductive and correct, but probably my answer. Okay. It's the overview of my presentation. First, I showed the smallness of Japanese B2C EC, and then propose a business model. Okay. Online shopping is one of the major means of purchasing in current situation. Indeed, the market scale of Japanese B2C business of 2011 is over 8.5 trillion yen, and it is growing continuously. Several studies have revealed the good sale. It called e-intermediation, occurrence of a new blood of electric intermediaries. And one example of re-intermediation is Kakaku.com. It is a price comparison website. And the sales size of 2011 of Kakaku.com is 80 billion yen, 80% higher than previous year. But I researched but some studies suggest that the Japanese B2C EC have only few Japanese B2C EC business is succeeded, and I researched the number of business prices of Japanese whole retailers and B2C EC by sales size, and it reveals significant difference between B2C EC and whole traditional retailers. 64% of B2C EC companies sell less than 10 million yen a year, and for traditional retailing companies which sell less than 10 million yen a year is 23%. The blue part of the graph. The reason of smallness of B2C EC was considered, two reasons were considered. First, accessibility. For example, a customer often chooses to enter a nearest convenience store. However, in EC, all of the distance between customers and shops are same. And second, there are too many online shopping websites. People cannot check our website, and they tend to visit famous one. So, it's a conclusion of my three. Successful B2C EC is offering online shopping of high value. And successful marketing technology on B2C EC may follow a highly specific method. Yes. And my suggestion is 0-yen shop. It offers packaged food products, health food products, and cosmetic products for free, and prepares a variety of journals that can be read freely. And the complete content of the 0-yen shop is below. All the items of the 0-yen shop are pre-approval samples. It means we can use, we can test the items in common situation. So the low price of the items of the shop are 0 yen. And the shop fit in eating corner. In fact, the people cannot bring out these items out from the shop. People only use these items in the shop. And people have to install a special application into their smartphone. And the software of Zero Shop, the application has 3 functions: entrance license, email browser, customer review writer. So people entrance license first. To enter and enjoy the shop, people need to install the application. And the application, when customers enter the shop, some kind of coins, shop coins, which are originally virtual money for the shop. So when people enter the shop, the original coin were consumed in proportion to spending time. And shop coin accumulate constant amount every month. And additionally, customers earn shop coins by purchasing items by the email browser or by reading items review. And the entrance of the shop is a motivation for purchasing items. So the Zero Shop is a physical store which offered by an internet broker. The broker earns revenue from store opening fee of contract firms. Zero Shop performs like a high quality catalog. And it is the estimation of Zero Shop. Initial costs were the initial cost of Zero Shop is estimated 16 million yen per shop. That is derived from an estimation example of Temple Lab. It is the estimation sample. Total administrative cost was 1.10 million yen per month per store. Break-even revenue was estimated as 1.37 million yen per month. It is determined that the Zero Shop cannot afford financial for small and medium enterprises. In this situation, break-even revenue is 70.2 more contract companies who sell 1.5 million yen a month needed with the reference date of store opening fee of reluctant to come after the mark. It needs effective advertisement and propaganda. Conclusion: B2C EC has potential to grow, but its Japanese B2C business is relatively small. My suggestion is Zero Shop, but it have some difficulties to realize. Thank you. Yeah, B2C is business to consumer. So
you should make a space between B and 2, because it seems that B2C is like a one word.
yeah. and but it is common in
or you make a quotation.
yeah, but
So you should first explain.
yes.
Word.
Sorry, I forgot to explain that.
Ah.
Okay. I think your idea about the shop is very good. And but if you want to use this shop, you have to use the website online.
Yes.
Yeah. Of course, many young people can use this shop easily, but I think many old people, even some middle-aged people, don't get used to using websites or PC. So I think the customer is very limited if you do this shop. What do you think about this?
Yeah, we support to install the application and support to teach the using of the application. In it is one function of the physical shop. People can ask the staff to the usage of the application. In current situation, the middle age or people elder people cannot ask the staff, or they have to call, or they cannot explain the exact situation, but it has a physical shop, so people can ask to visit and ask to the staff, and it can be a support for elderly people.
We are running out of time, so maybe if there is, we can make one last question. Is there any?
Thank you for your presentation. I have one question. What is the mechanism to make profit? I understand that opening fee is the benefit you earn, but I don't know how it is collected.
Yes. So that is our revenue. The broker, actually, the shop was organized by a broker, some kind of e-mall type shop broker, and e-mall means electric shopping mall, and it originally offered e-mall, and it earned from revenue from store opening fee of contract firms. It means the fee of register, and zero shop is additional strategy to get more customers. So the main revenue is store opening fee.
So we can talk with each other later. Okay. which you talk with each other after the session. お疲れ様でした。今日はこれで終わります。ちょっと先生体調崩されて途中で戻られましたので、今日の後のもの発表もビデオに撮っているので、先生に見てもらってまたコメントいただけると思います。